Welcome back everyone, Mr. Lindsay here with our next art lesson. I thought for this project we could try doing a drawing of a dream catcher. Some of you may have drawn one before or maybe know what they look like, or maybe even made one out of some arts and crafts supplies, because you could make one out of like a paper plate for a circle and some yarn for the web in between the middle, string and feathers and beads. But since we're not at school and I'm not sure what you have at home, I thought we would just work on drawing one. If you had the supplies and wanted to actually try to create one with some crafting supplies, you could do that and take a picture and turn that in. But let's stick with drawing one for this lesson because I'm not sure, like I said, what we all have at home. With this, we can just stick with colored pencils, crayons, markers. You could use watercolor paints. And then something simple to trace. We need something for circles. So I have two lids here. So you might need to pause the video and find something. But we need to make two circles, one larger and one a little smaller. It'll be much easier if you have something to trace for that. Okay, so I would try to find something at home or see if a parent can help you find something to trace. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to show you real quick some examples of dream catchers before we start making one. And then we can work on drawing. So here's an example of a dream catcher, and you can see this circle, the ring around here, and then that could be a plate, like I said, if you're going to try to build or make one out of arts and craft supplies. And then we use yarn or some sort of a material to make the web inside. And then here we have some pieces of yarn with feathers dangling. Beads sometimes are included, but we're going to draw it that way, okay? So in our picture, we're going to draw it kind of like that. Here's another example of a dream catcher that somebody created. Now the idea of a dream catcher, what they're for and what they're used for is the idea is a Native American belief that you can use these to capture bad dreams. So we have good and bad dreams at night. This could capture the bad dreams was the idea, and it could capture that in this web inside. Okay, so that's the idea of a dream catcher and that belief. And the inside looks like a web because that web is what would capture those dreams. Okay, so there it is. So that's an example right there. So I'm going to go ahead and work on sketching out our dream catcher. Okay, so let me go ahead and switch back, and I'm going to use my two lids that I found, plastic lids from containers to trace. But anything you can find at home to trace a couple circles, two different sizes, would probably work fine. So there's one there. Step one, I'm going to trace this circle on my paper. I'm using my black marker so you can see it better on the screen. Okay, so there's circle number one. And then I would put this one and center it so it's close to the middle. And then trace the second one inside. So I have my two circles ready. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hold off on these designs and go to the bottom and draw the feathers. So what I'll do is draw a line in the middle, okay, and then these will be a little bit shorter lines. And then I'll have feathers at the end of each one. So this is how I would draw my feather, okay? So to draw the feather, I would start with a little curve here and a curve here, okay? And then I'm going to go back up on each side like that, and then down. And then I'll do it again. Up a little bit, and then back down. And then at the end, I'm going to connect this, so maybe I'll just curve that right over there and connect. Then I can draw a line down the middle, and then a few lines inside, and I have a feather. Now I want to draw one in the middle, so I'll draw another one here. Curve. This can go back up, back down. Okay, and then the bottom, just bring it together, draw a line down the middle. Okay, there's a simple feather, and I need one more over here for my third feather. And then I have that part ready to go. Okay, so there are my feathers. And they can be different sizes. They don't have to be exactly the same. So I have my three feathers. I can draw some things that look like beads right here if I want. A lot of times dream catchers have beads on here. So maybe I'll add some little circles that I can color in later for beads. Now on to my design. So this ring here, I want to do a design. There's a lot of things I could do. I'm just going to stick with a simple zigzag, okay, all the way around. But if you have a different design idea for this ring, you could do other designs. It's not like this is the only one. I have another paper prepared that maybe I'll try a different design on in a minute to show you a different idea. Okay, and then back up to there. Perfect. Now in the middle, I want to divide this up, kind of like that web. There's a lot of ways I could do that, okay? One way, or the easier way, is just to draw some lines going across. Really, wherever you want. Let's put one here. Oh, maybe I'll do one more here. Okay, maybe I can do another one across. Oh, right here. I don't want too many because I'm going to have to color these in, so I'd say that's probably enough, okay? The next step is to work on coloring, and I have a finished one here that is colored, so you can kind of see what I did. Okay, so this one here, I colored all of these little triangles blue in my zigzag. I left the inside one white. Okay, and then I started coloring each one of these little shapes differently inside. And then I did a few different colors on my feathers, okay? This one I didn't draw the beads on, but I kind of like the look with the beads. So there's one drawn out, and then your next step would be to color it. Or I could use markers. I used crayon for mine, colored pencils. If you have some paints that you want to use, you could always try to paint that in. So there is an example of a dream catcher. Now there's other ways I can do my designs. So just for an example, let me take one that I already started. Here's one that already has the circles ready. Okay, so I would do my feathers again, going down. I'm not going to draw them now. I'm just going to kind of draw where they're going to be, but those would be my feathers down at the bottom. But let's just focus on this design. So a different way to do a design. I could do all sorts of things around this ring. I did a zigzag on the last one. Maybe this one I'll do little X's all the way around. Just a different idea. I'm going to turn my paper as I go just because I think that's easier for me. I'll just keep doing these little X's and turn my paper all the way around. I kind of like that look too because it almost looks like it's wrapped with some sort of a string or a yarn. The hardest part is going to be when I get to the end, I want to line it up so I have room for the last little X in my design. I have room for one here and one more. Perfect. So it goes all the way around. Now, the center. I could do a different design, different than the last one if I want. So different ways I could do this design instead of the very first sample. I kind of like doing this too. Draw a line in the middle here. Okay, and then divide it down the middle here. Divide it across the middle here. And then divide it through the middle there. Okay, and then in between, I can make kind of that cobweb look by doing some curved lines. I can do these little curves in between. All the way around. And then I could do that again. Okay, that looks pretty awesome. I might, if I want, I might be able to do one more. Maybe I can squeeze one more in the middle. It gives that sort of cobweb web look inside. That's another cool way to do that. And then I'd be ready to color this. I can color in these shapes. Okay, don't forget to add the beads and the feathers on the bottom. Okay, and then it would be ready for color. So same idea, just a different design than my first one. Okay, one more feather and it is ready to go. Alright, so there's another Dreamcatcher ready for color. Okay. Okay, once again, here's the one that I do have colored, so you can kind of see a finished example. This was the first one with a different design inside, but there's a lot of ways you can make these dream catchers, so I just wanted to give you a couple samples to work from, and then you can go from there. So I look forward to seeing your finished dream catcher all colored and ready to go.